A wise old chap called Wendell Berry once said that how we eat determines to a considerable extent how the world is used. And I've kind of concluded that there are a big few themes that I'm really interested in, with interconnected problems, interconnected solutions, and a lot of them are sort of linked to that quote from wise old Wendell. They're all kind of linked to my writing about the adventure and the outdoors, and the issue of food and diets had never particularly crossed my mind till I started writing local. I've always been interested in physical exercise and being fit, but I confess I'd never paid a great deal of attention to how important nutrition was in a broader context. But spending a year wandering around my local map highlighted two issues to me virtually every single week. Number one, our country is strewn with the discarded plastic wrappers of processed junk food. There's a massive environmental problem with single-use plastic. Less than 10% of plastics currently recycled, and we got a gigantic health problem with our appalling diets, plus the additional difficulties of that unhealthy people face then with getting out into nature to enjoy it, to get exercise, to help their physical and mental health. And the intersection, talking about physical health, I can barely string a few sentences together without puffing. It's ridiculous. However, enough of that. The intersection between all of these things feels ripe some real sort of adventure plus purpose musings away. So, number two though, so much of our land is devoted to agriculture, 70% of the UK in fact, which leaves very little for nature or for roaming adventurers. Now, initially, I just shrugged my shoulders at discovering how much of the UK's farmland. After all, we've all got to eat, right? But then I started to learn that not all food is equal in terms of its demand on land, its impact on biodiversity, or on the pollution it causes. And the realization that what I choose for lunch has more impact on climate change, nature loss, and clean rivers than almost anything else I can do right now was astonishing. And I have to confess, I didn't really enjoy all that I started to learn. It was pointing some pretty damning fingers at some pretty damn finger-licking tasty foods. But the point for today is this: there are strong links between many of the problems that us outdoor-loving adventurous folk worry about: loss of nature, climate change, pollution, litter, unhealthy people missing out on the fun of walking through the woods. And there are also links in a lot of the solutions which can benefit nature and humanity without having to harm our health, our incomes, or our fun. Eating different but delicious and healthy foods which enable more opportunities for farming for nature. And farming for nature reduces pollution, which can also free up massive amounts for rewilding, which leads to possibilities for increased access to the countryside to be enjoyed by those who have increased health and fitness due to a better diet. And round and round and round it all goes. The links between food and farming and health and wild places and access, there's some really, really interesting links and causes and solutions to all this. If you want to know more than my idiotic musings, then a few book suggestions. Ravenous, How to Get Ourselves and Our Planet into Shape, is great. I've forgotten the guy who wrote it. What is his name? He's the guy from Leon Restaurants who did the health report. Regenesis by George Monbiot and Feral, both excellent books. English Pastoral from the farming side of the world, James Rebanks. Rooted, about how regenerative farming can change the world. The Omnivore's Dilemma from Michael Pollan. He was the guy who said, eat food, not too much, mostly plants. That's the search for a perfect meal in a fast food world. A book by Jonathan Safran Foer called Eating Animals. These are all really good introductions to this sort of world. Also, there's a farming book by Jake Fines. What's that called? I forgot. Sorry. Anyway, plenty of book suggestions there. And so, any ideas, suggestions, criticisms, complaints that this video brings about, please just fire away in the comments and let me know. What do you think? What are the connections? What have I got wrong? Have your say? Let me know. Cheers.